Well, good morning, Bassin buds. I had a feeling this was going to happen this morning, so I had a plan B, so I'm going to a plan B. Let's find out what that is. You ready to run and gun? It's time for blast off. Let's go. Hey guys, Todd here with you. Welcome back to Bassin 101. My initial idea this morning was to go all the way down to the turnaround, see how long it would take me to get there. It's usually about a half-hour trip. But the further down I'm going down the river, the siltier it's getting. And I had a feeling that was going to happen. So the faster moving current side, if you want to call it faster, is this side of the slough. And I've shown you guys the slough before. And it's just a quicker access for me to get to deep water. And you know, it's summertime, it's the middle of summer, so deep water is usually the trick. Be a smallmouth or a largemouth. So what I decided to start off with this morning, because I haven't thrown one yet all year, and some of you guys have mentioned it, top water. Boop. I hit you in the head, didn't I? Good thing I didn't hook you. I already hooked myself once this morning. That never happens. But the P71, brand new Rebel P71. It's been out about a year, but naturally I just found out about it. So I'll give this a whirl for a little bit to see what happens. I usually don't give top water too much time because I really haven't seen anything come up. So I'm gonna give it, 10-15 minutes, give it a work around and see what I can come up with. Other than that, it's just going to be a Cinco rigging kind of day. So we'll get to that here in a minute too. Let's go. Okay guys, I'm not going to waste too much time on that top water. I've been going for about 20 minutes and I haven't seen anything. So, usually if I don't see any kind of commotion, I normally don't fool with top water. But I figured I would just for kicks. So the rest of the day is going to be a Cinco day. Now everything I have on here, I'm going to try something different. Now, one of the riggings I have, and I told y'all, a while back that I probably would never do this. But hey, you always need to keep your options open, right? I got the usual Cinco. Okay, as you can see that, usual 4-aught hook, usual Cinco, toothpicked. However, watching Roland Martin the other day, and he was using a 16th ounce sinker to help get the Cinco down in a deeper water a little bit better without it still giving it that kind of flow. Now what I have here is a tungsten, and I have it pegged. But now the way I have it pegged is with a rubber band, and I'll do a video on that, how I rig a Texas rig. But 99% of the time this is how I do it, because I'm really not a big fan of a sliding sinker unless I'm in open water and there's really not a whole lot of cover. But this allows the sinker to slide up a line if he happens to jump. It gives it just enough tension to hold it on there. It actually has less tension than the bobber stop does. Bobber stop holds it on there pretty good. This just slides right up a line as soon as you get it wet. Slides right up and down the line. And I keep just enough tag in the front of the bait, so I take a pair of pliers, pull the rubber band out, but I can still use the weight again. I've had to learn my lesson on that with lead weights. Thank goodness it was lead. But this is the deal here. Now, what I've got here is I'm always trying to come up with different ways of doing stuff, make things a little easier. I decided to stick with the smelly jelly stuff. Now you can't buy this bottle. This bottle, I buy a bunch of these off eBay and they don't leak. But what I did, I got a little sneaky. I took the labeling off of a jar and put it on the bottle so it looks professional, don't it? Looks like I bought it. But what I did was I bought some of the smelly jelly liquid, and this is about half and half smelly jelly liquid, half and half smelly jelly, so it still stays thick. But the sticky liquid, it's sticky. But I got some 1/4-inch ball bearings in there just to kind of help keep everything going. As you can see through that bottle, I don't know if you can see that air bubble. It's still pretty thick. And I like it like this because I could just start here. Just put a very little bit on that worm. That's a whole lot easier than messing with that jar. The only thing I see busting out here is carp. I don't fish for carp. But here's my theory, guys. Or not really theory, but this is how I do things. If I fish a Texas rig, this is not the hook I prefer to use. I like a straight shank hook. But because it's only a 1/16 ounce, I'm just going to go ahead and use the 4/0 EWG. And I'm sitting there watching it in the water, and it doesn't fall very fast. It falls definitely faster than it did before. But I also have the head shaded with just a little bit of orange. See that? Because if I did the tail, I'd get a lot of tail hits. Let me drop this over in the water so you can see what it looks like. As you can see, it still has a glide to it. And it doesn't fall super fast. So this should be a little bit easier to control in deeper water. So I'm going to try this, see if it twists my line or not. This is basically what I'm doing is a Senko rigging day and seeing how it twists my line. Basically is what I'm doing today. Let's go. Well, from what I can tell so far, I really don't see a whole lot of line twist. Usually you'll start seeing it pretty quick. Every time I pick up that Senko, I'll let it dangle. And it will kind of spin just a little bit. So every few casts, it probably doesn't hurt to just let it sit there for about 5 seconds, just let it unravel. So far I've just gotten a few little pecks on it, which are usually like, we have long-eared sunfish in this river. We got rock bass, we also have red eyes. I mean, you southern boys know about red eyes. They'll swallow a worm. There's a hit right there. Oh, son. I just felt tension. He hit it, but I felt tension. Yeah, back when I was fishing Federation tournaments, in fun fishing too, I had a couple of buddies I used to fish with all the time. Phrase is always, when in doubt, whip it out. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. All you gotta do is put the hook back in the worm. But I tell you what, throwing a Senko almost weightless or with this really light weight, you can't beat it on this Larry Nixon rod, man. This thing is, I'm getting some pecks, but they're pecks. Unless you can actually feel them swimming with it, don't waste your time. I have literally no current today. I mean, it's so slow. I'm able to just sit here and I can bump the kayak and just gradually just barely coast upriver. It's crazy. I'll show you what I'm talking about. We're actually on the current side here. The other side's flatter, like I showed you before. This is the slough, this is the deeper water. Let me show you what this looks like. Look at this. No current. And this is the beginning of it. This is where the rocks are, the boulders. And as you start going up, you just get into a lot of trees. All the way up through there, just around the bend. There's that big old brush pile you've seen me fish before. Yeah, this goes all the way around the bend. all this cover. Pretty good place to fish, I tell you. And it's only 20 minutes from the ramp. So I've got 4 different rigs today that I'm going to throw. And I'm going to try a different color on each rig just for kicks. I've got a Senko bag here just full of 10 packs that I packed myself so I can label them what they are, because I'm just nerdy like that. But I'll do a video on that, how I arrange soft plastics and Senkos and things like that, just to make things easier. Plus the box I have everything in, which so far I'm actually getting to where I like it. There's pros and cons to everything. Man, it's so nice to be able to throw one-handed again. This helps, guys. This athletic tape is like a Band-Aid material. Man, I tell you what, it really helps. Okay, now that the train has passed, you guys don't realize the train tracks run right down this river. I mean, literally right behind me. About, I'd say 60 or 70 feet right behind me. Got the train tracks run up and down here. So when they go by, you can literally just see the guy in the cab. A lot of times they'll just wave at you. Hey, man. Okay, rig number 2. We'll see how this goes. This is on 10-pound test on a casting reel. I got a little bit bigger swivel. This time it's an actual ball bearing swivel. So I'm really trying to experiment here about my line twist. And I've got an Eagle Claw weighted Wacky Rig hook that's weedless. I've got a brown, I know I'm nerdy about this stuff. I got a brown ring to go around the cinnamon worm. For Wacky Rig, I kind of like that natural earthworm. And the fall rate is controllable, but it's still slow. I got about an 8-inch leader on that swivel. And I'll be honest with you, with that weighted hook, that swivel doesn't mess with it. Let me show you this thing looks like in the water. It's pretty cool, actually. So what I'm doing today, basically, it's an experiment day. And all I'm really doing is I'm trying 4 different Senko rigs that I don't normally throw. Actually, I don't throw pretty much at all. And I just want to, I'm seeing about line twist. The reason, oh no, I'm hungulated. Not to go get that. I probably got the head wedged in a log. But basically what I want to do is I want to try line twist. And that's the whole reason I don't throw these rigs, is because of line twist. So I want to kind of play around and see what I can come up with. And see if it's a yay or nay on the rigs. So let's keep going. Alright, so here's my opinion of the Wacky Rig with that new swivel. It didn't twist my line. At least not that I can tell. You can go to a smaller swivel, but you have a tendency of them binding up. It's basically a swivel the same size as what you get on a spinnerbait. Now what I'm going to do is a little Nico rigging. Nico rigging is about the same thing as a Wacky Rig, but you're moving you're hooking the worm about 1/3 of the way up from the head. So you get all this tail action back here, and I use a 1/10 ounce Z-Man head. On eBay you can find like multiple colors in these O-rings, quarter-inch O-rings. But I really like this. I got a bunch of these, but I like this one in particular. because it unscrews the back. And you can load up your colors. I got, brown, blue, and black is pretty much what I got on there. And you can swap them to the color that you need to get to. And you basically screw that dude back on and just slide your ring up there. It's very simple to use. Actually, I like this a whole lot better than I do the other ones I have. Let me show you this swivel again. I'm going to use a swivel on this Nico rig because it will twist your line. It's basically the size of a spinnerbait, but these have solid rings, not split rings. That way they won't slide around, cut my line. Again, about an 8-inch leader. One of those owner titanium weed guard deals. I keep forgetting the names, like a mosquito hook type thing. But you rig it up from the bottom like that. I don't tell you what, I must have been using too small of hooks back in the day, but here in the river, I have hooked on a Nico rig 2 at 5 pounds and lost them as soon as they jumped. So that kind of tells me I was using a little bit too small of a hook. But here locally is the only weedless hook that I could find. I prefer weedless. I do have non-weedless hooks that I'll use if the cover's pretty open. Let me show you this dude looks like in the water. Man, that's a swimming little dude, isn't it? I decided to go black and blue flake on this one. So I'll try this swivel too and see if I have any issues with line twists on this too. Keep on going. Well, I've been getting a lot of hits. I mean, good strong hits. But you just kind of hold there for a second because you're not really sure it's what you call a red eye or a rock bass or whatever. Later. But yeah, they tend to get your stuff. And it's a little aggravating. Okay, and last but not least, we have Giga. It's some of you guys have probably seen these. It's a little clip-on, and you get these Gamakatsu hooks that have the solid ring. You tie to the ring, and it leaves your lure back here loose. Now, if you look, I've got a smaller 2/0 Gamakatsu. Now, why do I have that? Because I want as much action back here behind this hook as I can get. So this is the 1/8 ounce. It's going to make this thing just go straight down. I ran across these at a box store, and I kind of saw them on the rack, and I was like, that's kind of cool, but I ain't going to pay that price for them. So I found them on eBay a lot cheaper. They're still Gamakatsu weights. Let me show you what this thing looks like. I'm just curious if this thing's going to twist my line. You know, a lot of times you don't think rigs like this will twist your line. They can. So, from what I've seen on that Nico rig, I really don't see much line twist in that. So, I think those split ring, those swivels, ball bearing swivels with a solid ring, I think that's really helping. So, you know, you can go much smaller. I mean, Eagle Claw makes little small ones with a snap on it that you can get at Walmart, stuff like that, but I want a solid ring, and that's about a 40-pound swivel, so I think I'm good on that one. But it doesn't seem to overpower anything. It seems to be okay. As long as you get that leader, you know, 8-10 inches above your Senko, you're okay. So we'll give this dude a shot and see what happens there. And if I didn't mention, I'm throwing June bug. Typical summertime color. Well, what do you know? I got me a small mule on the June bug, Geeka, whatever you want to call it. Just about works every time. The old Bill Dance pop and drop. Ain't she pretty? Look at that beautiful smallmouth. On the June bug, Geeka thing. Thank you, little buddy. Let's see, we need to be about 5 pounds. Well, that was interesting. Pressure's off me now, huh? Your turn. Can't really explain how I'm fishing this thing. Kind of like you do with Texas rig. And I haven't seen any line twists. I mean, I haven't seen it spinning as I'm pulling it out of the water. So far, so good. A little bit more Jilly Vanderbilt on here. Make it smell pretty. Kind of fish it like a Texas rig, and then I'll kind of drag it a little bit, and I'll kind of shake it a little bit. Just a little bit of everything. And he just kind of loaded up on it. Had a couple of really good solid hits. But, you know, with the Senko, you kind of have to hold it for a second because you're not 100% sure. They could be grabbing that tail. All of a sudden, you just start swimming off with it. That's when I realized, yeah, that's a good one. Or at least that's not a rock bass or red eye or whatever you want to call it. I want to pass a little tip to you guys. I had a really good hit, and he exposed my hook and got me in a brush. So I had to go get the bait. However, you know, it's probably 10-12 foot deep right here, so it's not like I just stick my rod tip down there and get it. But when this happens, don't put any more pressure on that. What you can do, you can do the old banjo trick. So what the banjo trick is you get right over, you get the boat right beside it, hold the line in one hand and start flipping it like you're playing upright bass. Boom, boom, boom. And just start flicking it, and eventually it'll pop right out, come loose. Because I knew it was that hook sitting out. So again, if you get over, get your line like this and just start going like that with it, what it does is it puts pressure, pops it loose, pressure, pops it loose. Same thing if you're fishing at a distance and you get hung up. It works really good monofilament. Braid not too well, fluoro not too well. But you can just take it, you go pow, pow. Eventually it'll start going like that with the lure and work it loose. So that's just a little tip I want to throw by you guys, because it'll save you a lot of times from going and having to go get it. But if you do, just get right over top of it, go boing, 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 boing. Start playing dueling banjos. Just start paddling faster if you do. But that's just a little tip I want to throw out there too, kind of make it a little bit easier on you. Okay, so I came back across the channel here. I'm on the other side of the slough fishing that big brush pile. And I'm throwing the 16th ounce weighted Senko Texas rig, because the water here is only like 4 or 5 feet deep. So I don't need an 1/8 ounce weight. All that kind of stuff here, because it's just going to get bogged down in the trees. There's a lot of brush here. You try to keep your lure as light as you can, so you can fish the brush, but it doesn't get bogged down in the brush. I thought I'd give y'all a look. This tree comes all the way out here, and look at that line of brush. That goes down through here. That's close to 100 yards of brush. Crazy, man, crazy. Well, I got me another smallmouth off the rocks on another type of Senko rig. Thank you, little buddy. It's a little small rock pile I'm fishing. It's right off the bank. And that's not big. Maybe 30 feet long. But you can always pretty much know you're going to catch something on it. I went to a medium action samurai 10-pound test. And what I have done is I went to my power finesse box, which is my 4-inch Senkos. Which I only keep in black and blue flake, green pumpkin, and cinnamon. It's only 3 colors I keep in that. And this is not the rod I want to use this with. I actually have a rod at the house that I actually want to use. You probably remember in that last Power Finesse video I did with the 4-inch Senko that I was experimenting with, I kept losing fish. Because I just had too whippy of a rod. There's also a spinning rod. And so what I've done, I'm going to go to casting a pistol, 5.5 foot pistol grip at the house that I kind of want to vamp it up a little bit. I want to kind of change the guides and fix a couple of things on it to really make it the rod I want. But what I've got here is a 4-inch Senko. Again, I had that twist lock mustad. The reason I use a twist lock on a 4-inch is because I use a loop knot. See that? I use a loop knot, which gives this 4-inch Senko just a little bit more action. It still has that great Senko deal, you know, where it goes like that in the water. But, you know, you can turn around and throw it like a jerk bait. You gotta be careful throwing with this rod because it is a little, the extra fast action, but it's stiff. We're trying to throw this in. A 4-inch Senko weighs 1/4 ounce. And the cool thing about a 4-inch Senko, especially, I'm just getting some loose line here. Cool thing about a 4-inch Senko too, when I use on a loop knot, is you could almost use it as a topwater bait because it'll skip the surface. And that loop knot really helps it to give it more action. So it's pretty versatile the way it is. I just thought I would try it today to see what happens. And within a couple of casts, got another smallmouth. So I'm going to head up and fish some brush piles up here by where I come out at. I've come up the river from the slough. The slough's behind me. But I'm going to fish a brush pile I got over here. And then there's also a couple of spots behind the bridge I want to hit in the shallower, clearer water. And I'm going to call it a day after that. Okay, so I thought I'd let you guys see what some of these lures do, these different riggings. This is the Ike rig. Here's the Nico rig. I actually like that better than the Wacky worm. And then last but not least, we have the Texas rig. As you can see, that still has a glide to it. Let's get it over here. And now I've got a special treat. I was in my shop the other day at the house, and I found something I knew I had, I just didn't know what they were. Some of you guys might remember these, because I haven't seen these since the 70s. I got a bag full of them. Does anybody remember the lazy Ike Wiggler? Way before chatterbaits. It's a jig head. This whole rig weighs about 5/8 of an ounce. So with the Senko on here, it's about an ounce. But man, you should see what this does. If I like these enough, I might drill a hole and put a weed guard on this. Wait to see what this thing does in the water, man. I mean, I don't even know why they quit making them, because it's really cool. Check this out. Well, it's almost 10:30. I'll call it a day. It's kind of getting a little hot out here, and the shade here feels really good. But unfortunately, this is the creek. I got 3/8 of a mile run to go back to the ramp. So breaking down the morning, I can't say I would do anything differently because I came out here to experiment this morning. Now, the thing to think of, do I want to add that light Texas rig Senko to my lineup, along with that Kika, Chica, whatever. I did catch a smallmouth off of it. The Kika rig, Wacky worm. I don't know if I'll keep a wacky worm. I kind of like the Nico rig better, since I was able to do it without line twist. And man, that lazy Ike Wiggler, I wish I can get better footage of that, because man, I tell you what, that thing's got more moves than a frog on hot asphalt. So will they go in my arsenal? Still kind of debating stuff. I still want to keep things simplified. I'll be honest with you, I kind of like a weightless Senko, Texas rigged. That's kind of my bread and butter. I do have my power finesse kit, which is just 4-inch Senkos and a few different ways of throwing them, with jig heads and wacky worms and stuff like that. So I kind of like that Nico rig better. Falls a little bit faster, but not overpowering. And I like the way the tail just goes. That's pretty cool. I think I might go with that instead of the wacky worm. But that swivel really does help it. And really, I think I may keep a Nico rig with the power finesse too. Get away with the wacky worm on that as well. I just think it does better. That's just me. I just think it does better. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, when you come in, do you kind of assess everything and think, what would you do different? Or do you ever spend a fishing trip just experimenting? that's basically what today was. I wanted to bring all these rigs out and try them, and see what I can do with them. So, did manage to catch one on a power finesse, and caught one on a Jika rig, Jika, whatever you want to call it. It was a good morning. It's quiet, no wind. Wish I could have got something on top water. That would have been kind of cool. But it doesn't always play out the way we want. And I was experimenting with lines and all kinds of stuff as far as weights of lines for different things. Also, I just want to experiment with that too. So, whether I had too light of a line or too heavy of a line, you never know. That's all I got for today, guys. So until next time, may the Father bless you and keep you in Yeshua's name. And as always, Fish on.